not in the top 10? You know what? We're going to get down to the bottom of that.
Today on Hero TV. Hero brings you the incredible talents of image artist Jim Lee. Plus all the latest news and reviews on the hottest new comics hitting store shelves. Plus we'll preview Batman, the animated movie. All on Hero TV.
Comics, then you have to have a hero. Hero Illustrated is here, a magazine exploding with previews of new comics, interviews with the best names in the business, plus exclusive updates on incredible comics like Marvel's Venom, and the latest comic book news and the hottest imprints like Image, DC, Valley, Dark Horse, and the best of the rest. You'll find the latest insider info on upcoming movies, video games, and animation in every full-color issue. What store near you selling Hero and other great comics, call 800-321-HERO. Become part of the adventure.
Now, back to the show. 1993 was the most explosive year in comics ever. Not only did we see Superman return in the form of 4 different Supermen in DC's Reign of the Superman series, but we also saw other favorites like Batman change the way they battle crime forever. While the X-Men continued to dominate the charts with a wide variety of titles chronicling the adventures of everyone's favorite mutants, even more explosive universes were launched by several up-and-coming imprints. In addition to new launches like Dark Horse, Comics Greatest World, and Top Scurvyverse, one of these tremendous new universes is Malibu Comics' Ultraverse. This fantastic new series of comics exploded into stories with an incredible combination of stories, crossing continuity, and slick artwork capturing the excitement of the Ultraverse adventure on every illustrated page. Led by Prime, the flagship title of the Ultraverse, Malibu has carefully crafted a library of comic titles that blend standard superhero adventures within a world filled with events that affect and shape the direction of every character in the book. With top-name talent ranging from Steve Gerber to Barry Windsor-Smith, the Ultraverse comics are not to be missed. Dark Horse's Tales of the Jedi remains at the top of the editor's list this month. Hero turns its targets to Todd McFarlane's Spawn. From the depths of the underworld comes Spawn. The flagship for the Image line, Spawn has captured the minds of millions with its brilliant artwork and fantastic story of an elite soldier who meets the devil and lives to tell the tale. Spawn is without a doubt the most incredible visual experience currently on store shelves, showcasing McFarlane's painstaking attention to detail and a dark theme that has literally changed the face of all comics and set new sights for artists to aspire to.
A little more fine ones, but let's just say here's the body here with the little spider on it. Here's the groin area, but then what they do is they put like a leg here. And they bend the leg here. Okay, it was a fine bend or whatever. And then he's holding the webbing up in here, and the other one maybe he's holding the webbing up in here, and he's got some nice little webbing going here. Now, the one thing I try to tell people is that we're drawn in 2 dimensions, and we've got to give the illusion of 3 dimensions. And I think that a lot of kids, the artists that they like the best, they probably don't even really know why they like them, other than they draw cool capes and stuff. But one of the things is the good artists can usually take a figure like this and run the camera all around it and move it all over. The reason I don't like this, and it's good for the beginner who's trying to learn and put all the anatomy, is this is Spider-Man swinging over the city. I can get a sandwich board, 2 big pieces of plywood, and I can put one in front of him and one in back of him, and it wouldn't bug him. You know what I mean? I could put a big rubber band and he could still swing because there's no foreshortening, there's nothing else there. So one of the things that I like to get the kids to think about is to give as many planes as possible, since this is only 2-dimensional right here. We've got to make it 3-dimensional. So one of the things that I try to get the kids to think about is if you're going to have somebody slugging somebody or swinging or whatever, but the first thing we'll do, let's say if I was going to draw it back, here would be the collarbone, the top of the collarbone. This would be the back up in here, like this. Now, because let's say the Spidey emblem was here or whatever, we want to make the head off center, because if it's on center, when everything looks polite, then the picture looks way too polite. So if we can get a guy's head off the center of his body right up in here, then we've given the illusion now that his head is in front of this shoulder up in here. Now, if we're going to throw a foot, let's say we're going to throw a foot up in here, we'll put one, let's say we'll make a foot right here, and since we got to have the foot here, well, the only way we can get it back to his butt back here is if we bring it back up in here, and then his leg is going to go back down in here. We'd make his arm, let's say, come here, and as a matter of fact, let's even cut it in front of his face, and then kink his wrist here, and then kink all the fingers even. I mean, the fingers are like 3 or 4 planes in and of themselves. So in other words,
they don't teach kinking in school at the
they
moment.
don't. I know they don't. But the point that I'm trying to get at with kids, okay, then we'd have, let's say, a leg foreshortened back here, and here would be his foot, and then we'd have, let's say, the other arm holding some webbing back in here. Now the point I'm trying to make, and I know this is rough for the kids, I can clean up a little bit later, is that if I put a hand in front of a face, I've given the illusion that there's this plane, but that there's depth in it, that his face is back here. Now, one arm's going this way, one arm's going this way. I've given 2 planes. Kink the wrist. I've given 3, and I can get another 3 on the fingers, and another 3 on this finger. I can give you 15 planes if I want to turn it a 45-degree angle right here. If I put the head off center, and I put an arm back in here, I've got to hide part of the arm. So by shoving a hand directly at the camera that's real big and one back, or twisting the body, you've now given the illusion that this guy's warping all over the place. It becomes a tough thing, and part of it is I get paid to draw 10 hours a day, so, you know, I mean, you get better and better and better. If you look at some of my early stuff, I wasn't able to do that. But one of the gimmicks that I try to tell kids is to literally just take two pieces of lines, or 2 drawings of lines, whatever. Okay, we'll go 1 here, and we'll go 1 here, and squeeze a body in there. Because if you can squeeze a body in there, then you can probably twist them in any way. So now I've got 2 lines here. I mean, even now I'm going to maybe put myself in a bad spot. But what I'll do here is we'll make this his kneecap right in here.
You'll need a lot of kinking for this.
Yeah, oh yeah, lots of kinking, and there's lots of foreshortening. So then I can come down in here. I'll have his foot up in here. This other foot can come. This would be here. I'll maybe make his other foot hidden back in here. I'll have his body twisted over this way, with one of his arms coming up over here, and then I draw his head up and over here. Here's a big eyeball, cool.
Oh,
And then
I get it now.
And
That's
then I have
great.
maybe one of his arms up in here hidden. If he's got a belt, make the belt running off around his waist. If he's got a rope, make it going. If he's got a cape, even better. I mean, a cape's the easiest way to give action to something that's not happening. I can make a Batman or Superman, again, standing there doing nothing, but the cape's rippling all over.
You've got to have that wind blowing the cape.
So there's an
dramatically.
illusion that actually he's standing there in the wind. So there's some dimension even with the wind and stuff like that. What I do, because the character I've been drawing, Spider-Man, doesn't have a cape, and I love guys with cape because that's the easiest gimmick. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to know anatomy, because what you do is you kind of put the cape over the leg. That's why Batman's easy to kind of draw, because you just cover the body for a couple of
Anything
hands.
you're not good at drawing, you
Oh,
cover
you
with
hide,
the cape.
you hide it. Oh yeah, except from the very beginning. But because he doesn't have a cape, what all I can do is do, let's say, a spider web. So if I'm going to do a spider web, I'm not just going to have this nice, pretty spider web. I'm going to have the spider web come here, hidden behind a leg, twisted upon itself, just like a rope, coming back up in here, and then maybe even wrapping back up and around him up in here. So now, even the illusion I've given of depth with the spider web helps to all the different ways that I've twisted and I've contorted the body. Another thing is that sometimes people, like you're saying, get too tied down with like the realism of what makes a comic book and stuff. Some people kind of, I get a lot of kids, as a matter of fact, and I've been able to, I guess, baffle them with my BS, and they call it a style now. Thank you, kids. But they go, wow, you put in so much detail. You do this, you do that. My detail doesn't amount to anything. It's not anything. And I always tell people, I don't care if you can draw a good building or a good car. You got to draw Superman first. So I've yet to have a kid run up to me going, Toddy, you draw the coolest 57 Buicks I've ever seen. No. They go, wow, that was a cool Spider-Man. That was a cool Superman. That was a cool Rutabaga guy. And if you can draw a good Buick 57 behind him and a good building and a good tree, all the better. But I've seen guys that can only draw good superheroes that can't draw very good Buick 57 and they're still great artists.
Let me ask you about the webbing. Aren't you the first guy to make a work of art out of the webbing? I mean, to start making the webbing look as if it was three-dimensional?
I believe in giving credit where credit's due. I pulled the idea when I was collecting comic book. There was an obscure shot that was done years ago. They did a portfolio shot. An artist by the name of Michael Golden did a shot, and there was this one panel on his, and as funny as it was, I saw that when I was maybe 18 and I broke into comic books when I was 24, that I saw that shot and I go, if I ever break into comic books, and if I ever work for Marvel, and if I ever draw Spider-Man, I'm going to remember that.
Really? I didn't know
and by
that.
fluke, I ended up getting to draw Spider-Man. So again, I never forgot that. I got to remember like an elephant on a lot of things.